The topic for today is prenatal diagnosis. Uh, Sorry for the half screen view, because with full screen, there seems to be a problem in changing the slides. The learning objectives for today's lecture are that at the end of this lecture, you should be able to describe the various screening tests for prediction of a pregnancy at risk of Down syndrome. You should be able to classify the prenatal diagnostic tests, and you should be able to understand the indications for prenatal diagnostic tests. There's difference between prenatal screening and prenatal diagnosis. In prenatal screening, you perform tests to identify fetuses at risk of certain condition, while the diagnostic test is a test that confirms your suspicion. Okay, you should be able to know the advantages and disadvantage of each test. You should be able to counsel a couple properly who is considering invasive prenatal diagnostic tests. Also, there will be a brief overview about newer non-invasive diagnostic techniques based on cell-free fetal DNA, which is identified in maternal circulation. And this cell-free fetal DNA is then used for prenatal diagnosis. The first topic for today is the prenatal screening for Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a common aneuploidy. It is basically trisomy 21. The clinical features are, as you can see in this diagrammatic representation, there is growth failure of the baby, the flat back of head, abnormal ears, many loops on fingertips, single palmar crease, unilateral or bilateral absence of one rib. There may be intestinal blockage, umbilical hernia, abnormal pelvis, diminished muscle tone. They have a typical facies with broad, flat face, slanting eyes, and epicanthic eye fold, and a short nose. Small and arched palate, big wrinkled tongue, and dental anomalies. These children also have congenital heart diseases, and they also have shorter lifespans. Enlarged colon and big toes are widely spaced. So the Down syndrome is the commonest trisomy. The other common trisomies are trisomy 18, the Edwards syndrome, and trisomy 13, the Tau syndrome. Down syndrome is a common cause of learning disabilities. It is important to screen the Down syndrome. The prevalence increases with age. There is 1 in 1500 risk at 25 years of age. If the mother is 30 years of age, then she has 1 in 1000 risk of carrying a fetus with trisomy 21. And the risk increases to 1 in 100 when she reaches 40 years of age. The screening test, again, there is difference in screening and diagnostic tests. Initially, we perform screening tests. If we have a suspicion of a baby with trisomy 21, then we go for the diagnostic tests. The screening is biochemical, that is done on maternal serum, maternal blood. Definite diagnosis needs diagnostic tests. There are different tests that are undertaken for prenatal screening of Down syndrome. They are combined screening test, integrated screening test, the double triple and quadruple screening tests. So first of all, we will discuss the combined screening test because it is the one that is recommended. In all our recommendations, we follow the UK Royal College of Obs and Gynae. So it is recommended by the National Screening Committee of UK. Why is it recommended? Because it has a good sensitivity with a low false positivity, and it can be done on a single visit. So this is done in first trimester. What is it? It is basically a combination of ultrasound scan for knuckle translucency. Knuckle translucency is the skin fold thickness on back of fetal neck. If the skin fold thickness is more than 3.5 mm, it is thought to be suspicious. So you use a combination of knuckle translucency measurement along with the measurement of crown rump length. You measure the crown rump length to determine the gestational age. As this test is done from 11 to 14 weeks, right? So the components are, first you confirm the gestational age because this test is done from 11 to 14 weeks by the measuring the crown rump length. Then you measure the knuckle translucency, which is the skin fold thickness on back of fetal neck, and more than 3.5 mm is significant. You combine it with maternal biochemical markers, and her age is taken into account. As you have seen in the previous slides that age, with advancing age, the risk for Down syndrome increases. Her blood tests include pregnancy-associated plasma protein A and human chorionic gonadotrophin. So there are basically 4 components. The maternal age is taken into account. The crown rump length is measured, confirming the gestational age to be 11 to 14 weeks. And then the levels of 2 biochemical markers are taken, that is the pregnancy-associated plasma protein A and human chorionic gonadotrophin. And these two are combined with the knuckle translucency, and the risk status is calculated based on all these parameters. So a risk status will show you that either this pregnancy is at risk of carrying a fetus of Down syndrome. Either it is 1 in 100 or 1 in 200 or 1 in 300. The lab will give you the result in this way, in this manner, that it will calculate the risk as 1 in 100 or 1 in 200 or 1 in 300. So in many cases, 1 in 150 risks, if lab gives you 1 in 150 risk, then it is considered better to go for a diagnostic test. So again, 1 in 150 means that there is a risk of 1 to 150 that the baby, the mother is carrying, is suffering from Down syndrome. Okay, so this test is sensitive. Sensitivity is 85% if risk cutoff of 1 in 150 is used. And the sensitivity obviously will increase if the risk cutoff is increased. That is, if the risk cutoff of 1 in 250 or 1 in 300 is used, then the sensitivity will increase, but at the risk of doing invasive diagnostic tests in unaffected pregnancies. ठीक है ना? अगर 1 in 150 को लेके हम कर लें तो कम मदर्स का टेस्ट होगा, और अगर हम 1 in 250 रिस्क वालों को भी ऐड कर लें, 1 in 300 रिस्क वाली मदर्स को भी ऐड कर लें तो फिर ज्यादा मदर्स की सैम्पलिंग करनी पड़ेगी with the definite diagnostic tests that whether the pregnancy is Down syndrome or not. और फिर जो diagnostic tests है they carry their own risks and there is a risk of miscarriage. So even 1 in 150 में भी ये देखें कि chances are still very slim. ठीक है. The false positivity for this test is 5%. It can be done in a single visit because all the things that you need, these biochemical markers and the knuckle translucency, all of them are to be done in the first trimester. So you don't need 2 visits. Like in other tests, suppose we take the integrated screening test, there you need to check the knuckle translucency in first trimester and you have to combine it with the maternal biochemical markers of second trimester. So the mother needs to visit the hospital twice. It is recommended by the National Screening Committee of UK because it is cost effective. Cost effective ज़ाहिर है single visit पे हो रहा है तो it is cost effective. And mothers who screen positive then need further diagnostic tests. Diagnostic tests में क्या करते हैं? Fetal cells की sampling करते हैं. वो कैसे करते हैं वो आपको आगे बताएंगे. So this is the first screening test for Down syndrome, which combines maternal age with the knuckle translucency measurement and 2 of her biochemical markers from the first trimester. And it calculates the risk in terms of 1 in 100 or 1 in 200 or 1 in 300, but you take the risk cut of 1 in 150, and all those mothers who come under this category, like 1 in 50 or 1 in 100 or 1 in 150, all those are screened, and all those who have the risk cutoff above this level, if they are 1 in 200 or 1 in 250, you exclude them from the definite diagnostic tests. Okay, I hope you understand it. These are the different screening tests available, right? The combined screening test, the integrated screening test, the quadruple screening test, the triple and the double test. This one is done in the first trimester. This one is done in a combination. It is a combination of the first trimester with the second trimester. First trimester knuckle translucency measurement with biochemical markers from second trimester. The quadruple screening test is recommended when a mother presents late in pregnancy and in her second trimester, and this is done in the second trimester. The triple and double tests again are done in the second trimester. Integrated screening test is the integration of knuckle translucency and pregnancy associated plasma protein A from first trimester with measurement of serum alpha protein, alpha fetoprotein, human chorionic gonadotropin, inhibin A, and unconjugated estriol from 14 to 20 weeks, that is the second trimester. So 5 things are taken into account, 2 of them from the first trimester, and they're integrated with 3 of them in the second trimester. 4 of them, sorry, the alpha fetoprotein, the HCG, the inhibin A, and conjugated estriol. It is best performing in terms of sensitivity, right? If a risk cutoff of 1 in 150 is used, it is sensitive in 90% of cases and it has a low false positive rate, but it is not recommended because it is not cost effective. It requires multiple visits on part of the mother to a hospital. The quadruple test is for patients who book late in their pregnancy. It is done again in second trimester and it is based only on measurements of all these 4 parameters that were checked in integrated screening test in second trimester: alpha fetoprotein, estriol, human chorionic gonadotrophin, and inhibin A, right? So all of their levels are measured and the risk status is calculated. So some of these biochemical markers will be found raised, and some of them will be found decreased than normal. The double test is based on measurement of two components, that is the human chorionic gonadotrophin and alpha-fetoprotein. The triple test is the double test plus the measurement of estriol. And the quadruple test, as you already have seen, is the measurement, is the basically the triple test plus the measurement of inhibin A, right? What are the limitations of the biochemical screening markers? There are some limitations to the screening with biochemical markers. They are found to be raised in they are found to be lowered in type 1 diabetes and increased maternal age. Twin gestation will produce twice the level of these biochemical markers. And if there is twin gestation, you need to report it to your lab so that necessary adjustment should be made. Then it is unreliable in patients with renal failure and severe dehydration. What happens in renal failure? In renal failure, these markers are raised because the kidney is unable to excrete many of these chemicals. And in severe dehydration, again, due to concentration, hemoconcentration, the level of these biochemical markers will be raised. The severe dehydration is commonly seen in pregnancy in cases of hyperemesis gravidarum. You know what is hyperemesis gravidarum? It is the excessive nausea and vomiting of pregnancy leading to severe dehydration and weight loss. So maternal vaginal bleeding in first trimester could alter the biochemical markers, and minor variations are found in different ethnicities and in those mothers who smoke. Another important thing is that if the pregnancy is of a higher order multiple, like if there is a triplet pregnancy or a quadruple pregnancy, then these screening tests are not applicable. Then you only go for the measurement of knuckle translucency, and you combine it with the maternal age, and then you calculate the risk of Down syndrome. So if the tests turns out to be a screen positive, if the result comes out to be 1 in 150 risk, suppose in the combined screening test, it is a screen positive result, right? So how will you counsel the parents? The counseling should take into account the following points. You should explain the risk of aneuploidy to the parents. खुदा ना खास्ता ये नहीं है कि आपके बच्चे को डाउन सिंड्रोम डायग्नोज हो गया है. It is just that you are at increased risk of having a Down syndrome fetus as compared to the population of your age, right? Then you will offer them confirmatory tests, and you will discuss with them that the confirmatory testing is voluntary in nature. If they want to do the confirmatory tests, they can go ahead with the confirmatory tests, but if they deny, it's their choice. Then you explain the different confirmatory tests available, the different diagnostic tests available, and you explain the techniques of the different diagnostic tests and their complications in detail. And you also explain to them the timing of the confirmatory test result, then when will a confirmatory test give you a result. and what could be the possible management depending upon the result. If the result turns out to be positive, if the result confirms that the pregnancy is Down syndrome, has the fetus has Down syndrome, how will you proceed? How will you counsel the patient? You will give them the options of termination or continuation of pregnancy, and you will support them in their decision. So, what is the aim of prenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome? The aim of screening is to maximize the detection rate with a low false positive rate in order to minimize the invasive testing. ठीक है, क्योंकि ऐसा ना हो कि प्रेगनेंसी डाउन सिंड्रोम फीटस हो ही ना और आप इतना ज्यादा इन्वेजिव टेस्टिंग कर लें कि वैसे ही मिसकैरेजेस रेट आपका ज्यादा हो जाए. Okay, when are prenatal diagnostic tests performed? Prenatal diagnostic tests are performed when there is suspicion of disease in a fetus. ठीक है, ये डायग्नोस्टिक टेस्ट सिर्फ ट्राइसोमीज के लिए हम नहीं करते. These diagnostic tests will diagnose other anomalies in the fetus as well, right? Like structural anomalies. So if is a family history of genetic disease, you do prenatal diagnostic tests. Example मैं आपको दे देती हूँ congenital adrenal hyperplasia की. It is a autosomal recessive condition, but it runs in families. And if there is a family with an index case of congenital adrenal hyperplasia, then there is a risk of 1 in 8 that there will be another fetus affected by congenital adrenal hyperplasia. It is basically the masculinization of the female fetus, and if found earlier in the gestation, if diagnosed earlier in the gestation, then giving high dose dexamethasone in the first trimester can prevent this masculinization of the female fetus. So prenatal diagnostic tests is performed in such pregnancies, but again देखें 1 in 8 रिस्क है और उसके लिए बाकी जो 7 प्रेगनेंसीज हैं, बाकी जो 7 फीटसेस हैं, जो 7 by 8 फीटसेस हैं जिनमें तो रिस्क नहीं है congenital adrenal hyperplasia का, still all of them have to go through the prenatal diagnostic tests. ठीक है, so we need to have some diagnostic tests that are not invasive. In this case, we need to have diagnostic tests that are non-invasive, जिसमें ये शुरू में आपसे बात की थी ना, न्यूरो टेक्निक्स आ गए हैं सेल फ्री फीटल डीएनए के. ठीक है, तो मैटरनल सर्कुलेशन सेल फ्री फीटल डीएनए के थ्रू ये डायग्नोज हो जाते हैं. There are different diagnostic tests, invasive as well as non-invasive. ठीक है, family history of genetic disease. You need prenatal diagnostic tests if there is a past obstetric history. Suppose there is a mother who has a history of a baby who had suffered from erythroblastosis fetalis, and she wants to prevent this from happening in her current pregnancy, right? Then you have to diagnose. This fetus earlier on, and the first thing that needs to be diagnosed is the blood group of the baby. ठीक है, for that you need the diagnostic tests. Diagnostic tests requires fetal karyotyping, fetal genetic analysis. ठीक है, अभी जैसे आपसे डिस्कस किया है, if there is a positive biochemical screening test for trisomy 21, then you have to go for diagnostic test. And if on ultrasound screening you find any suspicion, ठीक है, डेटिंग स्कैन पे या एनोमली स्कैन पे। The prenatal diagnostic tests are divided into non-invasive tests and invasive tests. Invasive tests में आ जाता है, सॉरी ये उल्टा लिख दिया है मैंने, दिस इज नॉन इन्वेसिव एंड दिस वन इज इन्वेसिव। ठीक है, right, and this one is non-invasive. The non-invasive diagnostic tests are ultrasound scanning for structural fetal anomalies. You diagnose certain structural fetal anomalies on ultrasound. Then there will be maternal virology screen for in utero exposure of the fetus. ठीक है, इससे डायग्नोज हो जाता है कि बेबी को कोई वायरल इन्फेक्शन तो नहीं हुई। सेल फ्री फीटल डीएनए टू डिटरमिन फीटल ब्लड ग्रुप एंड फीटल जेंडर एटसेट्रा। ठीक है, अभी जो आपके साथ डिस्कस किया था, fetal blood group is important in those cases in which RHD alloimmunization is suspected, and fetal gender जब congenital adrenal hyperplasia आप सस्पेक्ट कर रहे हो, ठीक है, उसमें जेंडर बहुत जरूरी हो जाता है। ठीक है, इफ द फीटस इज मेल तो उसका इन यूट्रो एक्सपोजर टू एंड्रोजेंस कोई इफेक्ट नहीं करता। ठीक है, बट इफ द फीमेल, if the fetus is female, then exposure to androgens will cause masculinization of the female fetus। ठीक है, so fetal gender मालूम हो जाता है। ये आपको जस्ट एक एग्जाम्पल दिए। ठीक है, इन्वेजिव टेस्ट्स में आ जाता है कोरियोनिक विलिस सैम्पलिंग, बेसिकली biopsy of placenta. Amniocentesis is the aspiration of amniotic fluid। ठीक है, और उसमें जो fetal cells होते हैं उसकी prekaryotyping और genetic analysis। Cordocentesis is the aspiration of blood from umbilical cord, basically fetal blood sampling। So these three are invasive diagnostic tests, and the above three are the non-invasive diagnostic tests. The first one is ultrasound scanning among the non-invasive prenatal diagnostic tests. The ultrasound scanning detects fetal structural anomalies. Incidence of major structural anomalies is 2 to 3%, and 95% of them occurs in mothers with no risk factors. That is why universal ultrasound scanning for anomalies is recommended between 18 to 22 weeks of gestation। ठीक है, डेटिंग स्कैन पे भी सर्टेन एनोमलीज का पता चल जाता है, लेकिन वो एनोमलीज जो बहुत मेजर हो, जैसे कि एनेनकेफेली। ठीक है, फॉर डिटेल्ड स्ट्रक्चर एनोमलीज you need the fetus to be at 18 to 22 weeks। ठीक है, ताकि उसके स्ट्रक्चर्स वाजे हो, नजर आए। ठीक है, और 18 to 22 वीक्स के दरमियान इसलिए करते हैं कि ज्यादा देर हो जाए तो फिर टर्मिनेशन का ऑप्शन मुश्किल हो जाता है। If a structural anomaly is picked, then careful search for other anomalies is recommended। ठीक है, this is always a rule कि एक structural anomaly आप pick कर लें, you should be vigilant to find other structural anomalies because they usually occur in clusters। In case of multiple structural anomalies, invasive testing for karyotyping to exclude aneuploidies। If there are multiple structural anomalies, you should suspect chromosomal anomalies like aneuploidies, monosomies, trisomies। ठीक है, मोनोसोमीज में कॉमन है टर्नर और टर्नर सिंड्रोम, और ट्राइसोमीज में कॉमन है डाउन सिंड्रोम। इन्वेजिव टेस्टिंग किस लिए करते हैं? टू ऑब्टेन फीटल cells for genetic analysis। The second one among non-invasive prenatal diagnostic tests is the maternal virology screen. Maternal blood is tested for exposure to viruses. ये भी अक्सर उन केसेस में करते हैं कि अगर आपको multiple structural anomalies detect हो जाएं and you want to know the cause of these structural anomalies, so you do the maternal virology screen. ठीक है? If there is no immunoglobulins for a particular virus early in pregnancy and there is later development in gestation, suppose pehle there was no IgG and IgM for a certain virus and now there is IgM for that virus, then it shows that there has been maternal exposure and this maternal exposure has led to the fetal structural anomalies. Usually virology screen is recommended is if structural anomaly is seen on scan, for example ventriculomegaly, hydrocephalus जिसको कहते हैं और hydrops fetalis. The last one, which is a newer technique, is the cell-free fetal DNA. ठीक है, अभी आपके ज़हन में क्वेश्चन आएगा कि सेल फ्री फीटल डीएनए अगर होता है तो मैटरनल ब्लड में fetal cells भी तो हो सकते हैं. There is a possibility that fetal cells may be present in the maternal circulation, but usually they are very less in amount, so उनको मालूम करना बहुत मुश्किल होता है. Cell free fetal DNA comprises 10% of the free fetal DNA in maternal circulation. ठीक है, तो ये आसानी से मिल जाता है. दूसरी बात ये है कि this cell free fetal DNA is present in the maternal circulation within a few weeks of gestation and it clears from the maternal gestation within 2 hours of birth. जबकि जो fetal cells होते हैं in maternal circulation that can live in the maternal circulation for many years. So if you come to find a fetal cell in maternal circulation, there is a possibility that this cell is not from the index pregnancy and it is from the previous pregnancies. ठीक है? So it consists of short fragments of DNA rather than the whole chromosomes and originates from the placenta. It contributes to 10% of free DNA in maternal circulation and it is detectable in maternal circulation within a few weeks of pregnancy and completely cleared from circulation in 2 hours of delivery. It can help determine the fetal blood group, which helps in management of RHD alloimmunization. अगर RHD negative आ जाता है fetus, so you can rest assured. If the RHD status comes positive, then you need to increase the surveillance. It can determine the fetal gender, so it is useful in detection of fetuses at risk of X-linked diseases. ठीक है? And also in cases of congenital adrenal hyperplasia. It is also used to detect single gene disorders not found in mother, for example, achondroplasia or cystic fibrosis. These are a range of conditions that are diagnosed by the genetic analysis of cell-free fetal DNA and hence help in the management. ठीक है? Okay, now we come to the invasive prenatal diagnostic tests, जिसमें 3 बेसिक आपको बताए थे: chorionic villus sampling, amniocentesis and chordocentesis. What is chorionic villus sampling? It is the sampling of placental tissue. The term placental biopsy is also used for it when it is sampled after the first trimester. Procedure can be done from 10 weeks gestation. Earlier on करेंगे तो फिर complications का risk ज़्यादा हो जाता है. And चूंकि इसको आप first trimester में करते हैं, so it allows earlier termination of a pregnancy found to be suffering from suppose aneuploidies like trisomy 21. Routes of access to the placental tissue can be either transcervical or transabdominal. The prerequisites for chorionic villus sampling are that you should do a detailed ultrasound scan of the mother to confirm the fetal viability. ठीक है, अगर viability ही नहीं है, so what is the point of sampling? You can straight away go for termination of the pregnancy. You ensure that it is a singleton pregnancy, because in multiple pregnancy chorionic villus sampling फिर मुश्किल हो जाती है, ठीक है। और मल्टीपल प्रेगनेंसी में इन्वेजिव डायग्नोस्टिक टेस्ट स्पेशलाइज्ड यूनिट्स में करते हैं आफ्टर केयरफुल मैपिंग ऑफ द यूट्रस के कौन सा प्लेसेंटा कहाँ पड़ा है, कौन सा फीटस कहाँ पे पड़ा है, ठीक है। So you ensure that it is a singleton pregnancy. You confirm the gestational age that it is above 10 weeks. ठीक है, 10 weeks से कम का करेंगे तो there is increased risk of complications. You localize the placenta and you decide the appropriate route. ठीक है, अगर placenta anterior है तो transabdominal route would be the preferred route. If the placenta is posterior and low lying, then probably you will have to go through the transcervical route, ठीक है। So how is the transabdominal chorionic villus sampling done? So you need to know that it is the commonly performed procedure as compared to the transcervical route. The procedure should use aseptic techniques. An 18 to 20 gauge CVS needle is inserted through maternal abdomen under constant ultrasound guidance. ठीक है, placental tissue when visualized is aspirated through the attached syringe. ये देखिए, there is ultrasound guidance of this needle, and once in the placenta, the needle, the placental tissue is aspirated into syringe. ठीक है। In transcervical chorionic villus sampling, it is done with placenta when placenta is posterior, low lying, or when uterus is retroverted. ठीक है, uterus का access भी important है in determining the route of access to the placenta. If it is retroverted, then perhaps the better route would be transcervical. It is associated with less maternal discomfort, but it is not preferred because there are concerns of greater infection rates from the normal vaginal flora. There is, how is it done? A speculum is passed through the cervix, through the vagina to visualize the cervix. Then the cervix and the vagina is cleaned with a sterile solution. And after that, the needle or catheter is introduced under ultrasound guidance and samples are taken from the placenta. देखिए, speculum पास किया, sterile solution से इसको साफ किया होगा, उसके बाद ये catheter पास किया और catheter के साथ इधर syringe attach होगा under constant ultrasound guidance. ये procedure भी हो रहा है, ठीक है। These are not done in a general not done by general gynecologist, ठीक है। स्पेशलाइज्ड सेंटर्स में होता है, एमनियोसेंटेसिस फिर भी जनरल गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट कर लेते हैं। इन्वेजिव प्रीनेटल डायग्नोस्टिक टेस्ट्स में अच्छा, ये कोरियोनिक विलिस सैंपलिंग की अभी कॉम्प्लिकेशंस देख लेते हैं। There is a risk of fetal limb disruption and oromandibular hypoplasia if the procedure is done before 10 weeks of gestation. ठीक है। Again, there is a risk of placental mosaicism. Placental mosaicism कहते हैं उसे कि you find two types of cells in your biopsy tissue. ठीक है, तो this is the case in 1% of the biopsies. ठीक है, so there is a possibility that the placental karyotype is different from the fetal karyotype. ये प्लेसेंटल मोज़ैकिज्म जब होती है, टू टाइप्स ऑफ सेल जब प्रेजेंट होते हैं विद इन अ सैंपल, उनमें से कुछ नॉर्मल और कुछ एबनॉर्मल, तो जरूरी नहीं है कि जो एबनॉर्मल सेल्स हैं वही फीटस को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं। ठीक है, अच्छा, ये जब प्लेसेंटल मोज़ैकिज्म होती है, इनमें से फिर 10% ऑफ केसेस में फीटस में भी मोज़ैकिज्म होती है। ठीक है, लेकिन मेजॉरिटी में इट इज कन्फाइंड टू द प्लेसेंटा. The mosaicism is confined to the placenta, so that is why it is known as confined placental mosaicism. ठीक है, the miscarriage rate is 2%. ठीक है, you have to counsel the parents beforehand. Invasive prenatal diagnostic tests में second फिर आ जाता है amniocentesis. Amniocentesis is the aspiration of amniotic fluid from amniotic sac through a 22 gauge needle inserted through maternal abdomen. It is performed after 15 weeks of gestation. Before 15 weeks, it has higher complication rate. Amniotic fluid contains amniocytes and fibroblasts shed from fetal membranes, skin, genitourinary tract, okay? And these cells are then taken for the genetic analysis. The prerequisites for amniocentesis are the same as for CVS, that you have to do a detailed ultrasound scan for fetal viability, placental localization, अपने placenta के through नहीं जाना, ठीक है? Indications for amniocentesis are that women with positive screening result of Down syndrome, ठीक है? Women of advanced maternal age, देखें वो शुरू में आपको बताया था that women with who are 40 years of age have a risk of 1 in 100 for Down syndrome. तो उनमें तो स्क्रीनिंग टेस्ट स्क्रीनिंग की जरूरत ही नहीं होती, बल्कि कहते हैं कि above 35 years of age the mother does not need screening, she needs to go straight away for diagnostic tests, ठीक है? Again, it depends upon the mother's choice. And if you find multiple structural anomalies on ultrasound scanning, then you go for amniocentesis. Okay? And if there is a previous history of chromosomal anomaly, suppose there was previously a child with Down syndrome was born, then there is again a 1% risk, that is a 1 in 100 risk that the this pregnancy is again carrying a child with Down syndrome. So all those mothers who have a previous child affected with Down syndrome need to go for the diagnostic test straight away, and there is no point of screening in them. This is a diagrammatic representation of how amniocentesis is done. You can see it is done by constant ultrasound guidance. Okay. The needle pass kiye through maternal abdomen, then through the myometrium into the amniotic sac. यहाँ से amniotic fluid मिल रही है, ठीक है? Complications again are miscarriage risk, इसमें 1% है, cell culture failure, क्योंकि इसमें आप जब सैंपल लेते हैं तो आपके पास fetal cells कम तादाद में आते हैं, so you have to culture them, ठीक है? As compared to the chorionic villus sampling, जिसमें आपके पास बड़ा सैंपल आ जाता है, ठीक है? So there is still culture failure in 0.5% of cases, and you need to repeat the test. There is a risk of fetal talipes and respiratory morbidity if it is done earlier in pregnancy. आपको last lecture में बताया था that for the development of fetal lungs, amniotic fluid, sufficient amount of amniotic fluid as well as the sufficient intrathoracic space is very important. तो अगर आप earlier gestation में amniotic fluid ले लेंगे तो it can result in pulmonary hypoplasia. The disadvantage as compared to CVS are that it is performed later in gestation. ठीक है, later in gestation है तो termination भी फिर later in gestation होगी, और termination चूंकि later होगी तो it will be difficult to terminate the pregnancy. Lesser number of cells are obtained which then needs culture and longer wait periods. पहले आप culture करेंगे cell का, उसके बाद फिर genetic analysis होगी. Usually इसका result 2 weeks तक आ जाता है. Although now newer techniques are present like fish fluorescent in situ hybridization, which gives result in 48 working hours, but still it takes longer time than CVS. Because no culture is required in CVS, you get a sufficient amount of placental tissue. The third one among the invasive prenatal diagnostic tests is the fetal blood sampling. It is undertaken in specialized fetal medicine units, and it is commonly done for suspected fetal anemia or thrombocytopenia with availability of immediate transfusion if confirmed. उसी टाइम आपने ब्लड लेके टेस्ट करना है, और if your suspicion turns out to be right, then you have to correct the fetal anemia and thrombocytopenia in the same go. It is performed from 20 weeks gestation, as earlier procedures carries increased risk of cord accidents, and under ultrasound guidance it is done with a 20 gauge needle inserted observing aseptic techniques and passed through myometrium into the cord. Cord कौन से point पे लेना है cord के? At the point where it inserts placenta, क्योंकि ये fix होता है, ठीक है। जो fetal end होगा इसका, वो मोबाइल होगा, जबकि यहाँ पे कॉर्ड फिक्स होता है, इसलिए इट इज अ बेटर पॉइंट टू डू द कॉर्डोसेंटेसिस। द प्रोसीजर रिलेटेड लॉस रेट इज 2 to 5%। ये देखिए इस तरह करते हैं। How do you do the post procedure care in invasive prenatal diagnostic tests? First of all, you accurately label the sample, and you arrange for prompt transport of the sample. You then do the documentation of the procedure, and you communicate this with the referring physician. You give the woman information about when, how, and who will give results to her, including important contact numbers. If mother is RHD negative, then you give her appropriate anti-D dose, because it is a sensitizing event, ठीक है, जिसमें fetomaternal hemorrhage का खतरा हो सकता है. So you have to give the mother an RHD dose. Below 20 weeks single 500 international units देते हैं. Above 20 weeks recommendation है कि पहले आप 3 और टेस्ट से मालूम कर लें the amount of fetomaternal hemorrhage, और उसके मुताबिक फिर आप डोज दें, ठीक है. You advise to avoid strenuous exercise for 24 hours. मदर को एडवाइस करनी है. The patient may have mild abdominal pain, for which you give paracetamol, सादा जो पैनाडाल होती है, and you advise her to report to emergency if the pain does not subside with paracetamol, or if there is fever, or if there is bleeding or leaking per vagina. ठीक है. So this was all about the prenatal diagnosis, ठीक है, with special emphasis on prenatal screening of Down syndrome. Thank you for your patient listening.